Oliver G here, this is the Earful Tower. I know the honeymoon season's technically over, I'm not on the road anymore, neither's lovely Lena.
No, I'm sitting here in front of you.
Yes, well...
Instead of behind you on the scooter.
True, yes. But what we figured we'd do today is relive some of the best bits of the trip that we've done. So we've gathered 10 incredible things to see in France.
Mind-boggling.
And these aren't...
Gobsmacking.
Let me stress, these aren't including Paris. These are including things to see elsewhere in France. We've explained it. Check it out. And all of these tips, and with a shorter version of this podcast, will be on the new YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe to it if you're more of a visual person and you want to see this with your own eyes. But if you're more of an audio person, join us for a 30-minute ride around France. But first, here's a little bit from Slim and the Beast. Go for a ride.
Jump on my back, hold on tight, let's do it together, let's go for a ride, let's go for a ride.
And I'm sitting here, as usual for the honeymoon season, with Lena.
Hello, Oliver.
AKA Lovely Lena.
Yes.
AKA LL.
AKA, that's it.
Yeah, that's it for now.
It for now.
But I had a question that I prepared earlier for you. Thinking about our whole honeymoon trip. 2 months, 8 weeks on the road.
That's a long time.
Which sounds better? 2
I don't
months
know.
or 8 weeks?
8 weeks.
8
It's
weeks.
a bigger number.
Yeah, 8 weeks on the road, 4,000 kilometers. What would you say if I'd condensed those 8 weeks into a top 10 list?
Impossible!
Impossible, you say, but that's what I've done with the help of you. So,
What?
what I figured, as I said, this is a sort of, before season 5, a little look back, a little sort of bonus listy thing.
Okay.
And I figured we'd just get through it. The top 10 things to see. I've called them incredible things.
Gobsmacking. One might say.
Yeah, breathtaking, stunning. All the adjectives are in the story. But let's get through it. I start with a really basic one. And just let me stress once more, Paris is not on the list.
Yeah, because it's a given.
I've put all the distances I'm going to mention in this episode are from Paris, so that we can assume it's sort of the center that everything orbits around.
Yeah, so you're not starting from Corsica or something.
Yes, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you how far it is from New York or from Sydney or Tokyo or Fiji.
Because that would be silly.
That would be silly. But let's start with the most basic thing you have to see. And there are a few unbasic things in here too that I think you travelers are going to be...
A little surprised.
Yeah. But let's start basic. Mont Saint-Michel.
Ah.
The famous, the fairy
the
tale,
obvious
the
one.
abbey. That's exactly what I wrote.
One.
The most obvious thing on the list.
Yeah.
Let's get it out of the way.
But you have to go.
So, if you've never heard of it, which I assume most people have, but if you've never heard of it, it's a UNESCO heritage village where, fun fact, 50 people live, according to the census.
But they do have their own fire station.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's cool.
It feels like a long time ago we were there because it was right at the start of the trip.
Anyways, I just wanted to say, because we were saying about Mont Saint-Michel is that they have a fire station, and that's not it, guys. That's not it.
As if that's the one thing you have to see.
I wanted to stress that it's a really cool, visually cool place. It's a village built up on a little rock mountain.
Well, you know what it looks like is the start of... Is it Disney? It's Disney where you got that sort of castle outline. That's what it looks like.
Exactly.
And it's beautiful. You go in there, you have a walk around, you go up the steps to the top, you get down on the fields out the front and you take pictures of it looking up. A little factual information, 4 hours drive from Paris, or about half a day with trains and buses. It's not easy to get there.
Not that easy, no. About 2 weeks.
An inside tip. We've got one for all of these following 10 places. Mm-hmm. And this was your tip.
Yes, go early, before lunch, or late.
Yeah, essentially, everybody knows about this place.
Yeah, basically try to cut the traffic.
They say there's 3 million visitors a year, so you will not get it by yourself.
Intense. You might get trampled.
But it is, honestly, I remember when we were driving, we weren't sure if we should even bother going because it would be so touristy. But it's touristy for a reason. Go and check it out. Anyway,
it is good.
Let's go down to the west coast.
All right.
Number 2 on the list, Ile de Ré. Remember this?
I do. I really liked it.
Yeah, so
But I am a West Coast kind of gal, I suppose.
You're from Western Sweden, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
It's off, if you never heard of it before, it's a little island. It's kind of, I call it France's favourite island. right, for the French people. Sorry to Corsica and Mont Saint-Michel. I just noticed two
It's
islands
quite
in a
a
row.
statement.
But it kind of is. It's where a lot of people go down for a little getaway, good weekend trip. And, you know, it's got these charming little towns. It's got a lot of nature. It's still quite quiet.
Yeah, and it's simple. Like, simple luxury, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
It's
So
not luxury, but it is. It's the good life, but it's very aesthetic.
Yeah, it really is. It's picture postcard friendly. And
Very much.
like I said, so it's next to the city of La Rochelle. So that's a good place to base yourself if you can't find accommodation, because I know from experience that it's tricky to find accommodation.
It is.
But if I had to recommend somewhere, make a beeline towards Saint-Martin-de-Ré
That's where we were based.
on the north side of the island. Really nice.
And it's like an old fishing village. You stay. There are loads of hotels in the actual harbor, so
Have an Aperol spritz, sit and watch the tide come in. Yep, pretty
have
good.
some weird oyster ice cream.
So this, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I didn't have it.
I know. I thought it would just be inspired by oysters, but it was actually oyster.
Revolting.
Very odd.
Tips. You're going to give the tips. I'm going to give the facts. 5 hours drive from Paris, or a 3-hour train ride to La Rochelle. So probably give it 4 hours if you're taking public transport, or about a month, I think it was, on the scooter.
But how worth it was it?
And our tip
It
that
really
I've got
was.
written here is to ditch the scooter or the public transport and
Rent a bike.
rent a bike.
Rent a bicycle or a tandem bike.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
Rent a bike. I think we mentioned that on an episode along the way. If you're listening for the first
Probably.
time, you can go back and listen to all.
I'm sure the listeners won't remember everything. We don't remember
Yeah,
everything.
that's true.
We don't remember what we said.
Though I have had some listeners get in touch who are going to go to Ile de Ré based on our recommendation. So
Wow.
here's a double recommendation.
Pressure
it
is
really,
on.
No, it's really worth it.
It
Low
is
effort.
really,
It's
really good.
nice. And when you get those bikes, what you should do is, if you want to have the full experience, is you go out to the salt fields. Now, I remember when the person recommended this to me, he said, go and cycle through the salt fields. I assumed he meant literally cycle through the salt. Nothing like that. It's
Yeah, me too. I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah,
I
'cause-
thought it was like soggy, wet fields. You had to go and like where wellies.
well, it was soggy, but you drive on paths that are through it all.
Yeah, it was perfectly clean.
Anyway, there's videos of that. I took a time lapse while cycling on the front.
It's so good.
Dangerous.
Also, if you're in the back, you can. I mean, I'm not encouraging anyone to slack off, but you can if that's your thing.
What you can do? What? Not cycle?
What?
Okay. Wow. That explains a
What's in
lot.
the back?
All right, number three. Taking a twist. It's not an island this time. It is the Roman arenas in Provence, which I'm pretty sure I liked more than you did, to be honest.
Well, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
It's more of your sort of thing.
You know what? I'm not. There's more about history, being a history lover later in this
you're
episode.
a bit of a buff.
But I wasn't. I never was until point 10 on this list came along.
Yeah, stay tuned for.
That's true, actually. Okay, Roman arenas in Provence. So the 3 examples that we went to, there's one in Nîmes, which, if you're a reader of the Earful Tower's website, more on this in a second, but it's where the word for denim comes from.
De Nîmes.
De Nîmes.
From Nîmes.
Yeah, from Nîmes. Chop off the ES at the end, and that's where you get your denim. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the incredible
Now
ancient
that's some
Roman...
history I can get behind.
Really? Your language now?
On my behind. Some denim clad behind.
Oh dear, okay.
I don't know.
So Nîmes,
Moving on.
Arles, and Orange. And I'm pretty sure we haven't
Exactly.
spoke about Orange at all on this podcast, which is a little town
Aren't
in-
you happy that we are now?
Oh, I'll say.
I'll say.
So those who haven't turned off the podcast at this point,
Well done.
This is what I've said. These arenas are really, I thought, really mind-boggling, considering they've been standing for 2,000 years, and you
Yeah.
can just get in there and walk around. And when we went, which was in, I guess it was October or late September, they were empty. No tourists
It was
anywhere.
a really, really good time to go because, well, first of all, the weather was incredible. Maybe we were exceptionally lucky, but it was such a good time and just no people.
There's
Best of both worlds, of
Yeah.
all worlds.
Yeah, there were so few people that twice I stood up, put my hands in the air, and shouted quotes from Gladiator, and no one was.
Made
I
me
think,
film it.
yeah. Yeah, I got a little bit
Worth
taken
it.
away. What
Worth
is it? What is the thing that he says? Are you not entertained? And it echoed It
It
was
did.
amazing. Oh, it was amazing.
Painful.
But the one in Orange, we'll call it Orange, but I assume it's pronounced Orange,
Orange?
isn't the same kind of arena like the Colosseum, like the other two are. It's more of an amphitheater.
Yeah.
And that was still good, but out of the three, that's the one I'd least recommend. As brilliant as it was, and as interesting as it was, it rubbed me the wrong way a little bit.
Well, maybe it was because it was under serious
It was
construction.
that was one point of it,
So you couldn't actually see a lot of the highlights
No.
of the arena.
which irked me.
It did
but
irk
also,
you.
you know what irked me? I think it was the only time in the whole of France at a tourist site that we had to go through a gift shop.
Oh,
They forced us through a gift
exit
shop,
through the gift
And
shop.
they-
It wasn't. Yeah.
and the stuff wasn't even very good.
It was terrible.
Don't trick me with your touristy
oh,
tricks.
No.
I
Don't
think-
trick me with your toiletries.
And I spent what 350 on key rings.
Yeah. I know.
No, I didn't
know.
actually. But don't make us go to the gift shops. Come
No,
on,
that's
make it a
just
choice.
rude.
Yeah. Anyway, much like Patreon, you can sign up if you want. I'm not going to force you through it.
No,
I'm not going
it's
to put all
rude.
the content behind. This is a free podcast, for goodness sake. So the facts about these Roman arenas: they're about 7 hours drive from Paris, or 3.5 hours on a train, give or take. Assuming we recommended 3 there. But the inside tip from Lena: go inside.
I know that sounds really obvious, but you could be like, when you walk around, the outside is so cool and it's really majestic, and you can be, if you see a big queue, you might be like, ugh, I can't actually be bothered to go inside. I think you should.
Make the effort.
It is cool, and where else are you going to do your gladiator impressions?
Rome.
Apart from Rome, where else are you
you're
going to
right.
do it?
Go inside.
I think you should, because there's so much history in the walls, and you feel like, oh my god, the gladiators were actually walking
Yeah.
exactly where I'm walking
Yeah.
right now, and you can sit
Fighting
where
to
the
the death,
emperor
yeah.
was sitting, or at the very top. It's interesting how they have this class system.
Are you sure the emperor was there? Someone might fact check you on that.
Well, go ahead, fact check. I'd like to actually learn, but this is how I imagined it while I was sitting there,
Yeah.
and it's quite interesting how the whole arena, where people sit and watch, how it's divided into class sections, as
Yeah,
it
right.
often were back then.
We were hanging at the back with the prostitutes and
Exactly,
beggars
at the
and,
very
and
top.
foreigners.
Yes,
according to
at
the
the
audio
very
book.
top,
Yeah.
far away, the prostitutes, the beggars, and the foreigners
Yep.
gathered.
Yep, fine company.
So yeah.
Anyway, on to number 4. Now, I bet you haven't been here. I know you have, Lena, but I bet you, listener, sitting on the bullet train in Tokyo. That's what I'm guessing the listener is today.
Probably.
Our one listener.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Mark, where are you?
Listeners, have you been to Vézelay? Or have you heard of Vézelay? Because I certainly hadn't.
I had not.
No, well, we were driving through. What we often did is we found national parks to drive through. You look for the green on the map. It was always more beautiful. Just
It's such a
surrounded by
good
trees.
ride.
And a guy that was running the accommodation we were staying in said, you have to go to Vézelay. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. I assume so. Vézelay.
Vézelay.
And it's Abbey. And he said there's a really amazing 360-degree view. Just go there. And we're like, all right, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
go see for
trust you.
yourself.
And we did. 3 hours drive from Paris, this would be. And this is right before we made it home again. And there is this splendid little hilltop village that leads up to an 11th century basilica. Which is really, is a really awesome.
It's stunning.
It's breathtaking,
It
isn't
really is. The view, incredible. The basilica.
The view, yes, so the
Church.
view. We were going to leave without checking out the proper bit of the view at the very back.
I know.
Where because it's
What
kind
were
of
you
hard to
thinking?
get. I know it's kind of hard to get through. So
Yeah.
go when you come up towards the cathedral or the basilica, you turn to the right and just keep walking, and you'll get to an amazing, amazing view. It makes you think. It was it was a real proper. I think actually. It's the start of. There are a lot of pilgrim routes that go down towards the Pyrenees from
Oh, yeah.
France, and that's the start of one. And that's probably because of what's in the crypt.
And that was my tip for Vézelay.
Okay,
Don't leave without going down in the crypt in the church.
so right in the
Is
center
it a
of the
church? Is it called a church? It's not called
cathedral.
a church.
I think basilica.
Basilica.
Yeah. So go find the crypt right in the
Yes.
middle
Because in the crypt is on display, actually, in like a glass kind of box, gilded glass box,
Mm-hmm.
is I think it's the rib of Mary Magdalene.
legend says,
Legend says.
because
But it has been confirmed by a
I think
bishop,
an archbishop,
an archbishop,
came along and
hundreds of years ago.
He came. Well, they said it was the bone of Mary Magdalene, and then 100 years later, a bishop came along and inspected and said, "Yep, Yep.
Yeah, it
this
totally
This
is.
is in the year 1200 or something. So well, there you go. That's what
Yeah.
he said. So you can see that, and that's obviously why it's considered such a holy site.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I really liked it.
And a reminder again.
And it's easy to skip, to miss it, because it's just a tiny
course.
little opening in the inside of the church.
Plus,
and-
you had tiny little rib bones as well, so it's easy to miss it even
Yeah.
if you're looking inside the crypt.
yeah, it's not
If-
big signs,
If
nothing.
it is her rib bone.
Exactly.
But Vézelay, worth a look, even just for driving through the national parks.
Also, great Scrabble score.
Oh wow, what a great! If only proper nouns were allowed. Vézelay, the V, the Z.
Yes.
Oh, number 5. Onwards with the list.
Numero
And just a
5.
reminder, if you're wondering what this Mary Magdalene rib looks like, go on theearfultower.com where I've written up this list, and I put a picture in. In fact, I'm looking at it right now.
Ah, you can see if I tried my description.
It is
was-
gilded, and it's sort
yeah,
of sitting on
it was
nestled on a
correct.
red bed of, I don't know, velvet
Velvet cushion. Very royal.
And also, check the video. I made a video of this whole thing for the first time. I made a top 10 video. I mean, I'm experimenting with YouTube. If you are listening and you want to support the show in a free and easy way, subscribe on YouTube. I'm interested to see what avenues YouTube can take me down. Number 5, Marseille Cathedral. For sitting here now that we're not in Marseille, I think one of the most interesting things about the city is you can spell it with an S at the end or not.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know.
Is it plural or not? A collection of
There
cities or just
there was
one?
only one when we went down there. I've looked into this before, but I can't remember why. But
So in English, would you say I'm gonna go to the Marseille?
I think you just say
Marseilles?
Marseille.
I'm gonna go to the
What do you say in Swedish?
Seychelles.
What do you say in Swedish?
You know?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes people
that
say
how you say it,
Some people
then?
say the Ukraine though.
No
Yeah,
one
they
says
do.
that.
Some people say it, or at least they used to.
I'm not sure.
The Philippines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Marseille.
Anyway,
I don't know.
we're
I don't
off
know about
topic.
that.
What you should do when you're in Marseille with an S or not is
In the
visit
Marseille.
visit the cathedral on the top of the hill.
Another cathedral, but
Yeah.
different.
I mean, like the trick is with this list is you should obviously go to Marseille. You know, the city is really good, but the one landmark. This is sort of 10 things you have to see. If it was a bucket list, when you're in Marseille, go up to the cathedral, because not only is the cathedral itself really breathtaking. I'm talking the inside is amazing. You remember the inside of it?
It is.
The outside, but I think it's the best view from a cathedral in the country.
Except Vézelay.
Nah, it's better than Vézelay.
It's better
It is,
than Vézelay.
because you've got the
Tell me
Alps,
why.
Alps behind you. In front of you, the Mediterranean, sparkling,
Yes.
shining like a national guitar.
Ooh.
Whatever that means, Paul Simon. And then you've got the city sprawled out between the two. And it's just like this busy, bustling city.
No, I agree with you. I think I really do. I just want to hear you say
Oh,
it.
yeah. But it's really, I mean, it is a really nice cathedral and location for it's just so high up.
That
It
is
puts
cool.
it puts the Sacré-Cœur in Paris to shame
Yeah, it
of
really
how
does.
how high and mighty
It is hard to get to.
Hmm.
So if you want to pray up there, back in the day, without cars, you
Yeah.
really had to be,
Which
had-
brings
really had
brings
to
you
be
to your tip.
wanting to. Yes, bring water if you're walking, because it is far.
Yeah.
And it will get hot.
I think there are taps
Yes.
up there actually
Yeah, but for the walk.
for the walk itself. Yeah. Facts: 7.5 hours drive from Paris. Take the train. 3.5 hours.
Yeah, and it's good for nature.
This is Marseille.
Good
We're
for the
talking south
environment.
of France. Look at the picture of the view there.
Ugh.
If you're looking on the Eiffel Tower as you're listening to this, you'll see the red scooter in the very bottom right-hand corner of the picture. See it? Look how small it is. Dwarf.
It's like a little Where's Waldo situation.
Number 6, the pink granite at Plumenac.
Plumenac.
Do you remember Plumenac?
I do, and I love how it's spelled.
Yeah, Plumenac.
It's so
Another
many
good Scrabble score. You get
letters.
the bonus for using all your letters there. So we're talking the north coast of Brittany, 5.5 hours drive from Paris. Tough to get to on the train. You have to get to Rennes first. Couple of hours.
Lots of changes.
Have to change. Have to go to Saint-Brieuc. Not easy. But take the car 5.5 hours and you'll get there. So we're talking the northern beaches, and the reason it's so cool is because it's just a really one thing I've said over a lot of the episodes is how much I liked the varying and diverse landscape of France, and this place is no exception, because it's these huge rocks which visually are really stunning. Some of them had
really
names.
smooth. They look sculptured, like a smooth sculpture.
There are some, I think there was one that's like the rabbit or Napoleon's hat, all that
It
kind
is
of
so
stuff.
cool.
But the thing that's really fun is they I mean, they're called pink. They say they're pink, but they're not really pink. But depending on what time of the day and how bright the sun
It's
is,
sort of like a grayish terracotta.
which is on the day that we went.
Yeah.
But if it's really bright, apparently they're much lighter. So the beauty is that they look different every time you look at it, more or less.
Oh, wow.
But it's just stunning. You got to go and see this.
It is. It's like walking in a sculpture park.
It is.
And you can walk on the sculptures. It's very cool.
What's your pro tip?
My pro tip? I think my one tip would be after discovering all these amazing sculptures, go and have yourself a little Kinnaman.
Kinnaman.
Yeah.
I'm going to spell this for the listeners at home because it's nothing. If you want to try and guess, pause and try and guess, because if you can
How
guess
it's
how to spell
spelled?
Kinnaman, you never will. It's KOUIGN AMANN. Kinnaman. So it's obviously written in the
Wow.
local dialect, Breton.
It's like all the letters just thrown in there,
looks
and
like
someone said how it's pronounced.
It looks like a bad Scrabble hand, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's kind of like a fatty.
It's basically, with the Kinnaman, they kind of thrown in every ingredient in the pantry that's bad for you. So it's a lot of sugar, a lot of butter, but it's oh so good. And you have to try it.
And it's like the specialty of the region. Everyone will be trying to put one in your face.
In your gob.
Much like the galettes. Another specialty of Brittany. Both delicious.
Very delicious.
Number 7. Now here's a bit of a touristy one. People are going to be moaning and grumbling at home who know France well. But hear me out.
Stop your grumbling, guys.
Hear me out, guys. I've put the promenade or the walk at Deauville. Right?
Yeah, fair enough.
I thought you were going to
Fair
grumble
enough.
yourself there.
I hesitated.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it is a little bit touristy, but there's a few reasons that I put it. So if you've never heard of Deauville, it's sort of where the French and the British aristocracy used to go on holiday. It's about 2.5 hours by car or train from Paris, so it's up on the coast. So the reason I put it is, one, it's interesting insight into France today because a lot of Parisians go up there for the weekend. It's sort of like the number one.
Full of Parisians.
Yeah, it's like a getaway. And so because of that, it's exceptional people watching.
Exactly.
Maybe it even rivals the Paris people watching.
Yeah, I think you might have a point.
But the boardwalk itself, so there's 650 meters, remember the wooden boardwalk that goes all the way along the beach, is really cool. You know, you're tracing the footsteps of all these aristocrats from who knows when, but also people like Coco Chanel.
Definitely. She set up her first shop
That's
was
right.
in Deauville.
Which we went and looked at, and
Yeah.
now it's not.
It doesn't actually exist
No.
anymore. It's more of just a plaque on the wall, but still.
But it's really nice. It was really busy when we went there. But if you time it right and you want to understand French people and Paris and France all together, it's worth a visit. And it is beautiful. The colors of the
Beach umbrellas,
yeah,
that
it's really
saves
nice.
some space in your camera for that
Yeah.
because it's very good.
Is that your pro tip?
No.
What is it?
It's maybe a little bit controversial since we're talking about Deauville, but my pro tip is go to Trouville. It's the neighboring city.
Trouville.
It's
Trouville-sur-Mer,
basically
it's called.
opposite, on the other side of the little river.
waterway, yeah.
And it's cheaper.
Yep.
It's less touristy. It's more genuine in a way.
Fewer people.
I think it's really good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like Deauville, the city itself, is a bit... It's probably been strangled, the last
A
bit of
little
charm
bit like
out of
that.
it, maybe.
A little bit like that,
Yeah.
but it's definitely, you should definitely go. But when come
Hey, we're
dinner
not sponsored
time,
by Deauville. We can say what we want.
that's true. Come dinner time, head to
Trouville.
How do you say it in
It's
English?
spelled a bit differently. It's Trou, Ville.
Yeah,
And technically it's Trouville-sur-Mer, on the sea.
exactly.
We went there and had a lovely fish dinner, didn't we?
We did.
Anyway, up to 8 on the list.
Ooh.
8, 9, 10. Here we
Speedy.
go. Number 8 is the Chateau in Chantilly. Do you remember day one? Day one of the trip.
I can't believe it was day one.
I can't believe it either.
It's crazy.
I've said before Chantilly could be the best day trip out of Paris. 23 minutes on a train.
Okay, that's good.
That's crazy, isn't it?
People live there and work in Paris.
Yeah, well, we met
Vice
some of
versa.
them, yeah. Shout out to Susan, if you're listening.
Hello, Susan.
It's even the name I've said before, it's kind of magical. Chantilly.
Yeah.
It's where the cream is made. You got this chateau, 16th century chateau. That's where, James Bond films have had shots there. You know, I think it was, which one was it? A View to a Kill, I think.
Yes, exactly.
And
you
Funny
got a
Face with
whole-
Audrey Hepburn.
Oh,
You love Audrey Hepburn, don't you?
I do.
Do you remember there was a commenter that said that you'd make a good Audrey Hepburn on the scooter down in the Mediterranean. Didn't go into the Mediterranean, so wrong.
No Audrey for me.
No, but also the galleries, the artwork. If you're into art, they say that the galleries there are rivaled only by the Louvre.
Oh, they're incredible. Some grandmasters.
Classics, yeah, the classical collection.
Yeah.
Raphael. Delacroix. Botticelli.
A really cool library.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
And the horses.
The horses. We went into the stables.
The equestrian
That was a little
scene.
bit of a Patreon access one, remember that?
It was.
They took us behind the scenes and showed us all the,
Yeah, it's like the
the
paddocks and
Yeah.
the behind the scenes stuff.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Facts. 25 minutes with a train, or 23, and 1 hour drive from Paris.
Not bad.
Pro tip, see the stables, as you said, but also cross the gardens, and you can get sorbet. A little bit expensive. A little bit expensive, but they put on a dollop of the Chantilly cream.
Yeah,
which
and they're
is
not
famous.
stingy.
They're not stingy.
No.
No.
It's a
rather the
lot.
opposite. Okay, number 9. 2 more. Number 9, this is one of your favorites here. The Bayeux Tapestry.
Yeah, I do like it. I
So-
do. Even though it's old. I know you said you hated it because it's old and gross.
What? That's
No,
not what I said. This is if you've never heard of it before, 70 meters long.
Yes.
Piece of art, essentially.
And it basically tells a story about some old king. I'm not going to go into details because I have forgotten. Okay,
I've got the details here. It's the Norman conquest of England and the Battle of Hastings, which may sound like an unusual choice for a tapestry, but it was made in 1070. It features, you probably remember, you often talk about your love for William, the Duke of Normandy, and Harold, the Earl of Wessex. I'm reading this. But it is this huge tapestry that you walk around the whole. It's just like a curved room,
And that's the museum.
and you put the audio guide on, and they tell the story. So
Yeah.
it's very interactive, isn't it? So they say, "Here, William the Conqueror."
Yeah,
It's with
and
that kind of
spot
music.
the movement in the blah de
Yeah,
blah
that's right,
because that
that's right.
shows blah de blah.
Yeah, so it's sort of things like you can tell by the way his arms are positioned that he would, that kind of stuff.
Yes, it was good, and it was kind of cheeky. It was like little people looking out from behind a tree, and it was a bit surprising. I was
interesting
surprised.
how
It was
much
really interesting.
story they could get out of. Like they'd say, I remember bits like you said, people are gathered around. This signifies that a crowd was there to welcome the Duke back
Exactly.
into. Anyway, 3 hours from Paris by
Yeah.
train or by car. It's up in the sort of head northwest from Paris, and you'll get there. Pro tip, inside tip. I wrote this one. Once you've seen the tapestry, head to the nearby cathedral. I do love my cathedrals,
Yeah, you
apparently,
do.
which
You
I
do.
never would have thought until I wrote this list. But this is just a
it's
bonus tip
evident.
anyway. It's worth going inside. It really was nice. There's a little crypt too. One of only 2 that we saw in all of France. As in when you go underneath the cathedral.
Yeah, it's cool.
Always a bit of fun.
Another pro tip.
Yeah.
Not really a pro tip. It's just something I happened to notice that the way the horses were depicted on the tapestry, it was very prominent that they were all male,
Oh, really? Yeah.
like
okay.
heavily
prominent.
Yes.
Heavily prominent
It was
male horses.
interesting
Yeah.
why they bothered to weave that in. I do not know. Or embroider.
Yeah. I've got nothing to add to that. But yeah,
tip.
eagle-eyed
Lena.
eagle-eyed, lovely Lena.
Yeah.
Checking out the horse's manhood.
Well,
Number 10. Number 10. Here's one that's dear to my heart. I saved my favourite for last here.
okay.
It is the old town, the cité of Carcassonne.
But of course.
But of course.
But of course.
It's almost a running joke now how much I like this place, but I don't care. Laugh at me all you like. Carcassonne. So we're talking 7 hours drive from Paris. Long way.
I think I'm just going to let you do this one.
Here we go.
Yeah.
6 hours with a train. So when I say the cité of Carcassonne, I mean the walled-in, ancient city. And this is what I talked about right at the start of the list. This place, I think, turned me into a history nerd. Because I never really was a history nerd. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Maybe in Paris with the maybe in Paris with Philippe Auguste Wall, I was a bit of a nerd. But then this, I think, the ramparts, the double wall,
Yeah.
the fact that like
Full
it's
flood.
2,500 years old, and the story of it. If you haven't heard the episode, the idea that it got destroyed and ruined and taken over so many times that and rebuilt that they didn't know what it looked like until they brought in my new hero, Eugène Viollet-le-Duc, whose name I can't pronounce, France's biggest history buff with an eagle eye for renovation, to fix it. The story's just great. And I won't go on about it because I did do a whole episode about it. But my pro tip, my inside tip, is walk along the ramparts. I think you have to pay, I can't even remember, I think it's about 5, 6, 7 euros, something like that. And you go through the museum, but you can also get access and walk along a huge chunk of the ramparts, which I did a live video on YouTube that you can go find if you subscribe or whatever, where I just walk kind of from one end to the other and pointed out interesting things, at least according to me. Anyway, that's the list. 10 things to say around France. If any of you listeners, regular listeners, I don't want some newbie coming in here and spoiling the fun. If any of you regular listeners have been to all 10 of those places, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode because I'm very impressed.
Do I count?
No. You don't even listen to this show. But I thought what we'd finish on is a little recap of a fun thing we did the other day about this honeymoon trip, and then you tell a story about your new column.
Something I've been up to.
So firstly, what we did the other day, so we had this map of France, and we put it on the table here, right, the table we're sitting on, a big map, and we got props that like sort of...
little toys, basically.
Little toys that sort of mapped out the trip in some way. For example, like a thimble and some thread to mark the tapestry in Bayeux.
Exactly.
Or like
Or I dipped like a cone-shaped rock into frosting, sugar frosting that I made to make a little Alp top.
Yeah, you made an Alp.
I made an Alp top.
To mark our crossing of the Alps, which you didn't mention in this list, though. The Alps and
didn't.
Annecy are definitely worth a visit too. But that's more like a city. We're not talking about cities and towns here. This is more landmarks. Anyway, so what we did, and we found all these little bits and pieces, like...
It was fun. It was like going on a treasure hunt through my toy chest.
Yeah. Well, we had little berries to mark grapes in Bordeaux. So we did the whole country, the whole 2-month trip. And then regular listeners will remember that someone along the way on our trip gave us a little tiny scooter that looked exactly like our scooter as a little gift. And what me and Lena did is we filmed a video for the Patreon supporters of the show who make this show possible, the lovely Patreon supporters, and we did a live video talking through the whole trip, one stop after the other.
Step by step.
It might sound really stupid, but hey, it was pretty stupid, but it was quite fun to do.
It was very stupid, but very entertaining for us at least.
For me and you, and Joanne Oakes, whose comment I'm about to read.
Exactly.
But also, I did a time-lapse of it and put it on Instagram, so if you can't spare $10 a month, then you can watch the...
You can spare 10 seconds.
You can watch the time lapse to give you an idea what we're talking about. But Joanne Oakes, you know what she says? She commented just the other day on it. She said, "Hello, Oliver and Lena."
Well, hello.
Hello, Joanne. She says, "This was so fun. I'm laughing so much. I had tears in my eyes."
No!
I didn't know if that was your intention.
Hate to make you cry, Joanne.
I didn't know if that was your intention. I don't think it was. I was trying to be really serious. I took it quite seriously, didn't I?
Yeah, it was very serious.
But too funny. Did you really have all those props? I won't call it junk.
Oh, well...
In your toy box, Lena, did you?
No, not really.
Well,
sort of.
We made some of them.
We made some. It was a treasure hunt through the house.
She says, "No way would I be able to come up with that collection, but very clever. Good luck with the apartment search. Too bad I can't help." Yeah, well, that's a bit of a...
That was a bummer.
Thanks to bring me back down again, Joanne. But yeah, if you're out there and you've got an apartment in Paris, do get in touch because...
we're still homeless.
Yeah, it could be that season 5 of the Earful Tower is all about how to find a home in Paris.
Yeah,
from a garbage...
Reporting from the streets.
From a garbage bit in the 19th arrondissement.
Oh dear.
But yeah, that was fun. So thanks for watching, all you guys. And Lena, what have you been up to? How have we collaborated?
Yes, how have we collaborated? Apart from sitting here and talking into your ears once in a while, I have also last Friday I wrote a little article, little list for you for the Eiffel Tower, and it was about how to pack for Paris if you want to look like a Parisian.
That's right. So the idea is that because you full disclosure, I get emails from people with questions, do something about fashion, or what do I pack, or whatever. I never know what to say. And then Shelley, a regular listener to the show, said, "Why don't you guys collaborate a little bit? Lena should be writing stuff. Lena should be doing a column."
And we scratched our heads and we were like, maybe I should.
So that's we didn't do an episode about it, but Lena wrote a story and put some lovely pictures in. So if you are...
my top tips,
if you are a woman, let's face it, it's more geared towards women.
Definitely mostly directed to the ladies.
Or if you're a man who knows a woman.
Yeah. Or if a man who just...
dresses like a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
So basically everyone. Check it out because we didn't do an episode about it. It was more of a blog post on the earfultower.com. It's probably the top story, second top story. Go and check it out and subscribe to get those little nuggets of fashion wisdom from lovely Lena in your inbox.
Yes, have a little look. Tell me what you think. And if it's something I forgot
Yep.
to mention, that would be cool.
But basically, if you read that list, 6 tips, you'll be able to dress like a Parisian, blend in like a local.
If you want.
If that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And just on a final note, the second story that you're writing, because the first one did very well. It got shared a heck of a lot on Facebook.
I'm blushing.
So I'm almost out of a job.
Well.
But the second idea Lena has is very good. So I'm very interested to see what everyone thinks about
teaser.
that.
Are we gonna do a teaser? No,
No. We'll just publish
check
it.
in on Friday, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. As usual, find the Earful Tower on all the usual places and check what I'm putting a lot of behind-the-scenes work into at the moment as I'm gearing up for Season 5 is videos. So check out on YouTube. Hit that little red subscribe button. My goal is to get to 1,000 and then I can retire. And for the first time, I'm going to try and put this list into a YouTube video so I can use up some of the footage. So if you've enjoyed listening and you're kind of intrigued to see what Vézelay looks like or what...
you want some visuals to go with your audio?
Yeah, then go and check on YouTube. Otherwise, that's me for today. Is that you for today?
I think so.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.